Guys, what's going on? I hope everybody's doing well. I appreciate you guys stopping by today. And today we're going to talk about something called sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is not some exotic Mediterranean fish dish. It actually comes from a Greek term that meant poverty of flesh or loss of flesh. Today, sarcopenia denotes what they call age-related muscle loss. Basically, over time, because of neglect, lack of use, poor diet, we lose muscle mass. With it, we lose our muscle function, and it's not just about getting weak, getting frail. It's going to lead to a much lower quality of life, and in most cases, a much shorter life. Now, I'm certainly no Bible scholar, but I've read this parable before. It's called the parable of the talents. You can go to the Bible if you're inclined to do it, or look it up online. It's in the book of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 14. The gist of this parable is what you don't use, you lose. In this case, our muscle mass, our health. If you don't use your resources wisely, over time, you stand to lose them. And again, in this case, we're talking about our overall health. So why do we even care about this term, sarcopenia? Why should we even talk about age-related muscle loss? The fact is, by the time we're 30, most of us do lead a sedentary life. That's a fact. And because of that, we start to lose anywhere between 3 and 8% of our muscle mass per decade after the age of 30, which means that if we're lucky enough to make it to the age of 80, we probably have less than half of our muscle mass left on our body. And it's not just a matter of, well, I lost my muscle mass, so now I'm just a little weaker, maybe a little more frail. There's been more than enough scientific evidence to show that greater muscle mass on the body, greater strength, even your grip strength, they correlate very strongly to a lower mortality rate, which means the stronger you are, the more muscle you maintain on your body, the better chance you have, and it's more likely that you're going to live longer. And why does this happen? Well, we're out of balance. Again, like I said, what you don't use, you lose. So there's something called muscle protein synthesis, the building of muscle, and then there's the breakdown of muscle. And unfortunately, that sedentary lifestyle is going to lead to more breakdown of muscle than we do of building muscle over time. Things like lack of exercise, which is very common today, a poor diet, insufficient protein, extremely high inflammation in the body, which is caused, the biggest cause of inflammation, chronic inflammation in the body is caused directly by the diet. And in this case, it's going to be our old friend, our old nemesis, the standard American diet, which is extremely high in ultra processed, a lot of sugar, seed oils, and things like that. And these are the exact things, very high in carbohydrate, processed carbs. These are the things that drive that high insulin in the body, in turn drives chronic inflammation. To make matters a little bit worse, as we age, we're going to develop a condition called anabolic resistance. What does that mean? Basically, our muscles just don't respond as well to that even if we do have sufficient protein intake and the exercise, our bodies aren't going to react or respond quite as well as they did in our younger years. So that said, as we age, we want to prioritize protein in our diet even more, get a little extra protein into the diet, and put a little more effort into the exercise in order to get the same. Unfortunately, we have to put that extra effort in and be more focused on the diet, specifically that protein intake as we get older, to get the same results that somebody much younger would get. So the good news here, guys, is that we can slow this down. We can slow down the muscle loss. We can even reverse it into our 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s. We don't want to wait that long, but it can be done, right? How do we do it? Consistent resistance training, okay? Lifting weights, doing body weight exercises, things like that are always going to be the gold standard. And that's sufficient protein intake. And by doing that, even small incremental improvements in your strength level, as you build muscle doing that, you're going to drastically reduce your mortality rate. Now, again, people may say, well, I'm not sedentary. I go out and I mow my lawn, I do gardening, I get 10,000 steps a day. I hate to be the spoiler here, guys, but that's not going to cut it. It's got to be some type of regular resistance training, preferably progressive overload, where you make it a little more difficult as time goes on, in small increments depending on your fitness level. But you want to lift a little heavier, maybe do some more challenging movements over time. And as long as you're consistent, things like that are going to come. As far as the protein intake, my suggestion, based on the way I do things, the research and the reading I've done, I think it's a very good starting point if we look at 1 gram of protein per pound of lean or optimal body weight. Meaning, if you're a 170-pound guy who ballooned up to 300 pounds, you certainly shouldn't be looking at taking 300 grams of protein a day. Down around 170, even a little less than that. I think my opinion is that it's going to be it's going to do the job. But again, it's going to come with trial and error because every one of us is different. But I think, generally speaking, if you can get within that 1 gram of protein per pound of optimal or lean body weight, along with that regular resistance training, you should be good. So we can't say it enough, guys, for our overall health, maintaining that muscle mass, building muscle mass even as we age. Like I said, 40, 50, 60, 70, even 80, you could still do it. Regular, consistent resistance training, body weight exercise, use dumbbells, use barbells, use resistance bands. It's all going to work. Sufficient protein intake, 1 gram of protein per pound of optimal or lean body weight. I believe that the best sources of protein are animal sources. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole today about the diet, but in my opinion, the most complete protein and the best sources of protein you're going to get are going to come from animals. I eat a lot of lean meat, a lot of fish. I eat a lot of eggs. I'm not a huge advocate of protein shakes, people living on protein shakes, whether it's thinking that they're going to build muscle or even using them as a weight loss crutch. However, they can be a good tool as a supplement to your diet if you do want to reach a certain protein number. But I'm always going to suggest a good, clean whey protein isolate as opposed to 95% of the junk you're going to get at Walmart or at GNC, which is going to be loaded up with fillers and poor quality protein. So generally speaking, you want to look for a quality whey protein isolate if you're going to be inclined to use something like that with a very short ingredient list. Okay, if you pick up a bucket of protein and you have 8, 10, 12, 15 ingredients on it, put it right back and walk away. Okay, so look for a good whey protein isolate. And guys, I don't care if you've never lifted a weight in your life, if you've really never exercised, it can be done. Okay, but you have to put the time and effort into learning this. Don't go to your doctor saying, hey, doc, I need an exercise regimen and tell me what I should be eating. They don't know. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Again, that's another rabbit hole we're not going to go down in this video, but they're not going to steer you right. 99% of the doctors, conventionally trained doctors, are there to quell symptoms, to give you something to get rid of symptoms that you present yourself with, not to keep you healthy every single day of your life. That's incumbent upon you. And there's a huge return on investment for the effort that you're going to put into it. Okay, so don't be afraid. Don't be intimidated. The information is out here. You can find it, but you have to put the work in. And again, it's well worth it. So put that effort in, guys. If anybody's interested, I do one-on-one coaching. You could reach out to me in one of the links down below in the description, and we can talk. Other than that, I appreciate everybody being here. Hope you all get your reps in consistently. Don't lose your muscle mass. Take in sufficient protein. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Thanks, guys.